Israel's fight back to a genocidal campaign against Palestinians. Here's viewers, what is being said. Israel actions following Hamas' condemnable attack on their citizens are genocidal. The targeting of civilians, women and children, hospitals and shelters violate the values of humanity and every international norm of war. Statements of genocidal intent from the top Israeli leadership are being made. Netanyahu has himself called for turning parts of Gaza to rubble and has called the wanton killing of men, women and children collateral damage. The kind of dehumanizing language used by some Israeli ministers on Palestinians is like the language that preceded the Holocaust. The world cannot watch in silence as a second Nakba unfolds and the ethnic cleansing and dispossession of the Palestinians, as was done in 1948, is carried out once again with impunity. The Indian National Congress urges the government of India to do all it can to pressurize the governments of the USA, Israel and the EU so that they may use their power to stop the violence being committed by Israel in Gaza. How many more lives will have to be taken before our collective conscience is stirred and awakened? This is all that the Congress has said today, viewers. The Congress is now calling upon the Modi government to call on Israel to order an immediate ceasefire. It is also accusing Israel's allies of abetting an ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. All this while never once having outrightly described the October 7 attack by Hamas as an act of terror by Hamas. Viewers, let me take you through some instances to illustrate the point. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra says on Israel, no shock among those supporting genocide. Viewers, basically, she has accused Israel of committing a genocide. On Hamas, absolute silence. Now look at Jairam Ramesh, the communications head of the Congress party. On Israel, he says the language of top Israel leaders led to Holocaust. That's his words. On Hamas, viewers, silence, even though the Hamas leadership just recently has come out and said that they will work to wipe out every Israeli and all Jews. M.A. Baby, who is the left leader, on Israel, he said Israel is a terrorist nation. On Hamas, absolute silence. Mehbooba Mufti, on Israel, she says Israel is the real oppressor. On Hamas, silence. Now viewers, all these political parties, including the Congress, has every right to villainize Israel. No one can stop it. India is, after all, a democracy, a free one, and any party can pitch its tent in any camp. But if the Congress and its allies have decided to accuse Israel of waging a genocide, then it is our duty to point out in a dispassionate way that the facts may not necessarily bear this claim out. Let's examine who is really genocidal, Israel or Hamas. Here are some hard facts, viewers. Israel accepts the two-state solution. So it accepts that the Palestinians have a right to have a state, and whether it is in Gaza or it's in West Bank, they have a right to live there. The Hamas, viewers, is against the two-state solution. It says that Israel has no right to exist, simply. Israel allows Gazans to work in Israel. It gives them work permits at the border. Some questions are asked, papers are checked, and they're let through, and a large number of Gazans actually work in some of those kibbutz that the Israelis live in and which were attacked, viewers. On the other side, the Hamas charter vows to eliminate Israel and Jews. Israel. Arabs are residing safely in Israel, viewers. But look at the Hamas charter, vows to kill all Jews. Even the amended one, viewers, is very extreme. Now let's open this up And we're asking a big question. Is Congress neutralizing Hamas genocide by villainizing Israel? Viewers, is the Congress smearing with malignant intent Israel's right to fight back? Fundamental questions brought to you by Motorola, viewers.
Hello, Moto.
Let me open this up. We have an impressive panel, very well informed panel. This remains, however, viewers, a very, very divisive issue which is very close to home. Yes, this war is being fought in the Gulf, but its ripples are being felt here in India. Increasingly, one side is moving very quickly to villainize Israel, and it is pressuring the BJP-led NDA to also follow suit to villainize Israel. Is this legitimate? Are some of these opposition parties neutralizing the Hamas's genocide? Viewers, these are fundamental questions, and I want to bring in first and foremost George Kurian, who represents today the opposition point of view on this issue. He represents the Congress point of view on this issue, perhaps also sympathizes with the left point of view on the issue, and I have brought those issues out, viewers, for you, what their stand is very clearly. Now, Mr. Kurian, fundamental question to you. How can Israel's fight back, its right of self-defense, be called genocidal? Can you please explain this to our viewers, Mr. Kurian?
Rahul, a very good evening to you, to my co-panelists on the show, and to your audience. Let me begin by saying that, the Congress party here, I second the statement which has come from the communication in charge of Congress party, Mr. Jairam Ramesh here. Let me say that, you have called the Congress party saying it has villainized the Israeli attempt to defend itself, so, which is untrue and not correct as far as the war is going on at this point in time. Let me begin by saying that Israel's action and attack on Palestinian citizens, especially the civilians, the women and the children, are condemnable, and it's nothing short of genocidal. The why it shouldn't be called genocidal is because it's a deliberate attempt made by Israel to without following the norms of the war and the UN Charter. It goes against the human rights and humanity here, and we are seeing the visuals coming from Al Shifa Hospital. We also have learned that the humanitarian aid has been stopped. The medicines, be it food, water, power, this goes without saying that it's an attempt, deliberate attempt made, and goes without saying that it's a genocidal attempt.
It's a genocidal attempt. You're using big words, but you haven't given one illustrative point. How is this a violation of international law? Can you explain? Right to self-defense.
In the name of self-defense, and in the name of self-defense, Israel is attacking the Palestinian land area, and Prime Minister Netanyahu has himself said that he wants to see Palestine and the Gaza Strip made it into a rubble. So it goes without saying the intent is very clear. The Israeli intent is very clear.
No, hang on. Now, viewers, here are some facts that I need to place. Okay.
America and European Union are also with Israel.
Okay, they're all with Israel. They're all genocidal. They're all abetting an ethnic cleansing. Okay, now I just want to say a few things, viewers. Look, I'm quoting out of the New York Times. That is Bible for some opposition parties in our country. Whatever is written in the New York Times, viewers, is the truth, is the gospel for them, as I have said to you. Now, let me read out what it says about targeting of hospitals, etc. How international law views military action at a hospital. This is a New York Times article. You can Google it and take it out. So sure, of course, viewers, Geneva Convention and international law say that you cannot target hospitals. But there are some exceptions. Yes, viewers, hospitals have special protections under international humanitarian law. It is illegal in nearly all circumstances to attack hospitals, ambulances or other medical facilities or to interfere with their ability to provide care for the wounded and sick. But there is an exception under which hospitals lose that protection. And I don't want to waste anyone's time. I'm going to pull out visuals from Al-Shifa Hospital as I read this part out, viewers, from the New York Times report. So we're going to show you those visuals. What are the IDF finding there? They're finding weapons. Now, quote this article, there is an exception under which hospitals lose that protection. A hospital or medical facility can lose its special legal status if it is used for a military purpose that is, quote, harmful to the enemy, unquote, rather than just for medical care. For example, if an armed group uses a hospital building as a headquarters, it cannot use the special hospital protection as a shield for that military operation. The exception is supposedly to be read narrowly according to the Red Cross, which is considered a leading authority on the interpretation of humanitarian law. If there is doubt about whether a hospital is being used for military purposes, it should be presumed not to be, the Red Cross says. So give it benefit of doubt. But look at these pictures, viewers, from the Al-Shifa hospital. Racks on racks of military equipment, even the MRI facility, the MRI room, viewers, the MRI machine presumably hasn't been used. But there are bags of weapons lying there. It's all there, viewers. It's there. Those pictures are there. They speak the truth. You know that pictures paint 1,000 words. There they are, those words. And let me also tell you, viewers, and this is very important. On November 16th, Israel has complied with every compliance. Israeli Air Force dropped leaflets overnight on Thursday in eastern areas of Khan Yunis in the south of Gaza Strip, telling people to evacuate to shelters for their own safety, suggesting imminent military operations. October 13th, Israel's military is telling 1.1 million people in northern Gaza to evacuate their homes immediately as it appears to prepare to ramp up retaliation for Hamas' October 7 terror attack. This is before the Israeli military went into Gaza. October 9th, Israel's army said it aims to evacuate all Israelis living close to the Gaza Strip within 24 hours. It deployed tens of thousands of soldiers to fight Palestinian militants who infiltrated into Israel. During the course of IDF's precise and targeted operations against Israel against Hamas in the Shifa hospital, the IDF took all feasible measures in order to mitigate the impact on patients and the staff there. As part of these efforts and following ongoing collaboration with hospital authorities, IDF tanks brought incubators, baby food, medical supplies and delivered them to hospital. What are you recovering there? You're recovering full medical kits. So there are no shortages in this hospital of any of this. Nonetheless, I've just set the stage. I've set the facts because that's my job. I want to bring in Sanju Verma, spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and Dr. Ranganathan together on this. First to you, Ms. Verma, and it's an important point. Today, the Congress has written a huge letter, very long one, painstakingly suggesting that people who are also siding with this ethnic cleansing are equally culpable. It could be said that being allies of Israel, the Modi government is equally culpable. And it is calling upon the Modi government to ask for a ceasefire. Should the Modi government ask for an immediate ceasefire, ma'am?
Rahul, please bear with me. You've laid out the facts on the table for our consumption. And for the better of it, there are a few moot points that I need to put forth to your audience. Point number one. We all know that what happened on the 7th of October was an unprovoked attack on Israel by the Hamas. Unprovoked. Whether 5,000 or 7,000 rockets were launched is besides the point. Whether 1,400 people were killed, hundreds of women and elderly, disabled men raped, mutilated, victimized, persecuted, 40 babies decapitated. All that is out in the public domain. In war, it is not that Israel has seen 1,400 people being killed, but Gaza has seen more than 7,000 or 8,000 or even 10,000 people being killed. So there is no sense of proportion. When there is a war, a sense of proportion is something that is never quite, something that pans out in the manner that you and me as civilians understand. Point number one. Point number two. Very quickly, I just want to say this. This has been discussed on your channel and on a zillion debates that I've done as well. Ever since Israel came into existence as a full-fledged state as we know it in 1948, Beat, the attack in 1948, 49, 1952, 1967, 1973, 1982 or 2006. The big Arab-Israeli wars. The aggressor has never been Israel. The aggression or the oppression has always been from the other side. Point number 2. Point number 3. It is Hamas which first decided to not agree to international conventions when it decided to not follow the Oslo Peace Accord of 1993 and 1995, and before that you had the Camp David Agreement of 1967. So the pro-Hamas group today and this entire ecosystem which is saying, oh, Geneva Convention of 1949, why has that not been complied with? Oh, why has the NATO Convention of 1949 not been complied with? If you ask this pro-Hamas cabal, did Hamas ever comply with the Camp David Agreement of 1967? They will say, "Arey, humko to pata nahi, theek hai, ho jata hai." Did Hamas comply with the Oslo Accords? No, they did not, but so what? And my fourth point, wait Rahul, please. I can see your hand going up, but I need 30 seconds more. The most important point is this. From 1948 to 1967, for about 19 years, Gaza was with Egypt, under Egyptian occupation. From 1967 till 2006, for another 39 years, it was with Israel. But from 2006 onwards, till now as we speak, 2023, for the last 17 years, Gaza has been with the Hamas. The Gazans, knowing very well that Hamas is a terror outfit, chose Hamas to lead them.
Okay.
And the most, tragic part is this, that the two big Hamas leaders, Khaled Mashal and Ismail Haniyeh, each of them has a net worth of more than $500 million.
Yeah.
But today, Gaza is starved of water, food, basic sanitation. And I'm surprised that out of the 57 Islamic nations, tell me, have even 5 nations said that we will take into account on board the refugees from Gaza? How many of these 57 Islamic nations have extended aid apart from just talking big? They have not walked the talk. And last but not the least, please bear with me.
But let's stick to the Congress and the opposition here.
Yes, so I'm just coming to that. What I found very funny, and I say funny because Jairam Ramesh has a habit of putting his foot into his mouth each time he posts something on X or he speaks. He's used 4 words which I take particular offense to. Dispossession of Palestinians, ethnic cleansing. He talks of dehumanizing language, and then he talks of double standards. Of course, that he talks of Israel being a genocidal state is something Congress leaders like even Sonia Gandhi and Priyanka Vadra have been repeating with gay wanton and
the
abandon.
point being,
but I want to ask Jairam Ramesh, has India provided 39 million tons of food, medicines, basic amenities to Palestinians? Yes or no? Yes. Are we saying that do not conflate Palestinians with Hamas? Yes, we've said that. Do we support a two-nation theory based on dialogue? Yes. But has the Congress unconditionally called out the fact that Hamas is a terror outfit? No. If Shashi Tharoor said as much at a rally on the 27th
he was targeted
in Kozhikode, from the likes of K.C. Venugopal to just about every Tom, Dick and Harry, actually, started undermining Shashi Tharoor's
he was targeted. Okay. So you're saying that you can hardly accuse, the Congress can hardly accuse anyone of hypocrisy. Fair enough. That's your point of view. Okay. Dr. Ranganathan, let me bring you into this. And we have read this statement that Jairam Ramesh has issued, and I just want to ask you, how can Israel's fight back? Or can Israel's fight back, its right of self-defense, be called genocidal?
Good evening, Rahul, and good evening to my fellow panelists. Look, if you believe in Jairam Ramesh, then I'm afraid you are one who rubs his nails every morning to cure baldness. God knows every time this guy opens his mouth, a corpse shoots up from the pyre somewhere to search for more wood to expedite the process. This guy is special, Rahul. I mean, he's the same man who once went to the most contaminated industrial site in the world, the Union Carbide plant in Bhopal, and picked up a fistful of soil and said, and I quote him, "I am holding the Bhopal Union Carbide waste in my hand and I am still alive. There is nothing to worry," unquote. Look, the fact of the matter is that all our Arab friends, 15 nations, ditched us during our 1971 war with Pakistan. It was Israel that claimed to our help. despite America warning it not to. These facts came out from the explosive Huxer papers. And Golda Meir actually told Indira Gandhi, I hope you would reciprocate us, ma'am, our help that we are giving you. And how did Congress repay Israel? By not backing it during its Yom Kippur war in 1973. Rahul, but that's history. The present is, I would like to make a few points, if I may, just a couple of minutes, because they need to be internalized. Because these are irrefutable facts, not opinions. Number one, Hamas uses hospitals as ammunition dumps and patients as human shields, rendering automatically Geneva Convention invalid. I repeat, Geneva Convention invalid. It is now also clear that this Baptist hospital in Gaza was not bombed in an accidental Israeli airstrike as NYT and WAPO and all the other propagandists were shouting, but rather got damaged through a Hamas stray rocket, that to its car park, and 500 patients were not killed. But none of these guys, propagandists, apologized. But here's the thing. The Baptist hospital in Gaza was safe, was functioning well till October 6th, was it not? And it would have continued to be safe and function well beyond that had Hamas not murdered 1,400 innocent Jews on October 7th and brought on this war upon itself. So let me be clear and unequivocal. Hamas alone is responsible for the hospital tragedy. Number two, the Jews were in the land of Israel more than 1,000 years before Islam was even born. So this argument, lopsided argument that the land does not belong to Jews is totally wrong. King David founded his kingdom 1700 years before Islam. And what is symbolized in the Israeli flag? The Star of David. The Jews were driven out of Israel 500 years before Islam, after the defeat of Simon Bar Kokhba in the Jewish-Roman War. What are they talking about? Number three, while the Israel Declaration of Independence Charter does not discriminate between Jews and Muslims, the Charter of Hamas, democratically elected, by the way, by the Palestinians, proclaims that the day of judgment will not come until Muslims fight Jews and kill them all. Israel will continue to exist until Islam obliterates it, just as it obliterated others before it. Number four, Israel has voluntarily given up land, Sinai, West Bank, Gaza, that it had taken over after the Arab-Israeli wars. If it was perennial aggressor, why would it do so? Number five, Israel believes in the two-state solution where Israel and Palestine can live peacefully side by side. Hamas does not. And number six, Egypt has demolished thousands of Gazan homes along the Sinai border. Egypt has flushed out Gazan border tunnel, not Israel. And besides, why are Egypt and Jordan not allowing Palestinian refugees to enter their land, especially when the Rafah border crossing allows for civilians, not goods, to cross over? And finally, just 30 seconds. Have you ever wondered, Rahul, that a small sliver of land, the Gaza Strip, surrounded by the richest, the wealthiest nations in the world, the Arab states, remains the poorest and the most dilapidated, filthy, gutter-like conditions for its civilians in the world? It is not the same as Dubai, the same country that the same nations have converted deserts into Dubai, and yet they don't do the same for Gaza. Why? Because they want to play the victim card. Just like after they start the violence, they kill Jews, they march down their dead killed in retaliatory Israeli action to show the world that Israel is the oppressor. They project Gaza as an open-air prison and gutter because Israel has made it so, they say. They care more about denigrating Israel than about developing Palestine. And the day they realize this, Palestine and Gaza would be much better condition than they are right now.
And remember, viewers, it was the Palestinians who opted to elect for the Hamas, reading very clearly its charter. That charter was only under a lot of international pressure, rewritten just a little bit. Toned down is a better word in 2015. Before that, viewers, it was full of genocidal intent against Jews, not just in Israel, but around the world. So, Tausif Khan, I have to ask you this. Is Hamas a terror organization that is sworn to killing all Jews and Israelis, that is actually genocidal? Simple question. You should have no problems in saying that yes, Hamas is a genocidal organization. It advertises it proudly. After that, you can come to Israel. But at least begin by accepting the facts.
Rahul, you have given so much of time to BJP spokesperson and Mr. Ranganathan. I hope you give me at least half of it.
Please.
Because this is a very sensitive issue. You see, I think we are unnecessarily giving so much of credit to Congress, which they don't deserve, because what Congress has tweeted today, or Jairam Ramesh has tweeted today, is nothing new. 20 days ago, in the United Nations General Assembly, more than 120 countries have already stated what Jairam Ramesh is today repeating. You see, one statement is very often attributed to Mahatma Gandhi, that an eye for an eye will make the whole world blind. We, India as a nation, have always been seen as the torchbearer of peace and non-violence. We have taught the world not the importance and virtue of non-violence. Therefore, our stand should always be consistent. For what reasons government abstained from voting 20 days ago in favor of ceasefire, government only knows it. Now, you see, coming back to the topic, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. You see, this Hamas indulged into a very condemnable act. They avenged in the name of 75 years of Israeli occupation, for in the name of so many Palestinians killed in the past 75 years. They went ahead and killed about more than 1,200 people in the Israel, innocent people. I don't see any reason for them to go and kill those people. Whatever it is, they have killed so many people. They have taken 240 hostages, and they're justifying it because it is their revenge for the 75 years of Israeli occupation. Now Israel has retaliated, and they have killed more than 15,000 civilians, out of which 6,000 people are children. They have displaced more than 1.5 million people in Gaza. They have stopped water on them. They have stopped food, electricity, fuel. If this is not genocide, then the question that Jairam Ramesh is asking, and the question which so many other world leaders, even Canada, who voted against ceasefire 20 days ago, is now saying that the ceasefire must come. Even Canada is asking how many more people across the world are asking Israel, how many more children do you want to kill? The report says every 10 minutes a child in Gaza is being killed by Israel. They do not have unfettered license to go and kill civilians in the name of taking revenge for the 1,200 or 1,400 people that died in Israel. No, that's not justified. It's totally unproportional. Israel could have proceeded with a special operation, like US has United States have always tried to have a dialogue with Israel. They have always asked them to give a stated goal of their operation, of their military operation. Like USA conducted a special operation and took Osama bin Laden out. Israel could have conducted a special operation and could have taken Hamas fighters out. Ask them how many Hamas fighters have they killed. They will be very few in numbers, 40, 50, 100. Ask them how many Hamas fighters have they killed. But the admitted position is that more than 15,000 civilians killed, out of which more than 6,000 are children. They are not the ones who went inside Israel to kill the innocent lives in Israel. These children, why should they be killed? Why should they be called a collateral damage? Okay. And the Israeli ministers have the audacity to say that all the Palestinians are animals. You are dehumanizing them. Israeli people have the same human rights just as the Palestinian people have. If the Israeli people have all the right to live in a free world, and just as the Palestinians have. Palestinians have territories, have been occupied. There is no doubt about it. The BJP government maintains the position that Palestine is under occupation, that Palestine must be free, that the two-state theory must be executed. Then why shy away from calling for a ceasefire when we, as the nation of Mahatma Gandhi, has taught the whole world the virtues of non-violence? We have lectured the whole world the virtues of non-violence. Why can't we now demand a ceasefire right away when more than 120 countries 20 days ago had asked for it and repeatedly asking for it?
Okay, let me just very quickly, because he said, I don't know why the Indian government, yes, Sanju Verma, you can respond, just give me 10 seconds. The only reason the Indian government did not go along with the Jordanian-sponsored resolution was because it did not contain an express condemnation of Hamas's terror attack. That's all. And in
Thereby
fact, one second,
justifying-
let me just finish.
6,000
Why are you
children.
shouting at me?
Justifying
First of all, one second, Mr. Khan. You are quoting figures. Are you on the ground? There is some authority called the Gaza authority, that is health authority, that comes out with these numbers. I'm not saying that children are not dying. It would be very, very, very callous of me to dismiss every report as a fake, but we don't have any access.
believe in the
One
father
second,
of
sir,
nations,
please. I don't
not
believe
violence?
anybody. I don't believe
Oh,
anybody.
You don't believe Mahatma Gandhi. You
Mr.
don't
Khan,
believe Mahatma
I don't
Gandhi's
believe. No,
story
one
of
second. Mr.
non-violence.
Khan, are you saying that if India is attacked tomorrow by the Lashkar-e-Toiba, we should sit with our hands upon each other's hands?
No, we will do a special operation.
We should look the other way. We should
Indiscriminately go and
look
kill
the other way. We should start combing our hair in the mirror.
Authorize
What nonsense.
killing of civilians. What nonsense are you talking
Just one
Rahul?
second. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Indiscriminate
Viewers,
killing of civilians,
if
this is
you
ridiculous, Rahul.
if you can respond. On the one hand, he's saying that, okay, you can have a special operation. You can do this. Mahatma Gandhi, after the Mopla rebellion, did not even for a moment, and I think Dr. Ranganathan has brought out these points several times, he turned the other cheek and in fact accused the Hindus of bringing it upon themselves. This is what Mr. Khan wants. This is what he wants, viewers. And he says, go engage those people. Engage whom? The Hamas, which is writing on its charter. And that the gentleman, Mr. Majid here, will reject out of hand. He'll say, no, Hamas doesn't recognize. It's fine, it's okay. Let's go to the root cause. But
please ask him if Hamas is a terror organization.
I asked him, did you hear? I asked him, I said, at least begin by saying, no, you see what it did was condemnable. But did he say it's a terror organization? No. Neither did Mr. Kurian. You see, they won't. It's just, it just is a very futile exercise on my part. They will never accept that Hamas is a terror organization. For them, Israel is a terror state. But yes, Ms. Verma, you see, he's saying, ask for a ceasefire, be Gandhian, Gandhigiri karo aap.
राहुल, गांधीगिरी का भाषण हमें कौन दे रहे हैं? People who subscribe to the bloodthirsty ideology which is endorsed by the likes of ISIS, Boko Haram, what have you. Let me tell your audience that Hamas, which was set up officially in 1987, clearly subscribes to the Sunni Muslim Brotherhood ideology, saying that there is only one religion, Allah, and everybody else, including the state of Israel and Jews, need to be obliterated. There are today more than 2 billion Muslims. There are more than 2 billion Muslims in 57 countries, but there are only 17 million Jews who are still fighting for survival. And the most important point is this. Do you remember that after the horrific 26/11 terror attack, ये RSS की साजिश है, Digvijay Singh and Sushil Kumar Shinde and the entire cabal said, and everybody said yes, that is right. Then we had the Batla House encounter in 2008. Sonia Gandhi was shedding tears not for Mohan Chand Sharma,
right,
the police inspector who was martyred, but for Indian Mujahideen. So Congress and its allies, इनका हाथ हमेशा आतंक और आतंकियों के साथ ही रहा है. And to those who say, Mahatma Gandhi said, an eye for an eye will make the world blind. So I ask you, what will you do? यदि कोई आपके घर के अंदर घुसकर आपकी माँ, आपकी बीवी, बेटी, भाई, बहन उन पर अत्याचार करे, they are mutilated, God forbid, and I'm just using this, even my house for instance, somebody comes in, rapes, mutilates my near and dear ones, am I supposed to show generosity and say, an eye for an eye makes the world blind? इनको माफ कर दीजिए. So please don't sit here and take the moral high ground as I keep repeating. The Geneva Convention of 1949, the NATO Convention of 1949 ceased to be operational the day the Vienna Convention of 1969 was broken and, dismissed to smithereens by the Hamas. The Vienna Convention clearly says that any protection that you have will cease to operate if you make an unprovoked aggression or attack against a second party. Against you may have had
Dr. Ranganathan, can I quickly bring you in here?
Aggression.
I remember you speaking to a fellow journalist on the sidelines of a lit fest some time back. And I remember that sort of happened in front of my eyes, in fact, just out of curiosity. Now, what did the Congress government do after 26/11? Did it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, what happened?
Yes.
Can you explain to me? What did that journalist tell you?
Yes, in fact, the Air Chief Dhanoa is on record, and this was reiterated by none other than that journalist, that they wanted to bomb the terror hideouts and targets in Pakistan. And our then PM, Dr. Manmohan Singh, was approached, and he walked out. He said, "No, we won't do it." Now, this is after the most dastardly, the most audacious, the most horrific terror attack on Indian soil, the 26/11. After that, immediately in the wake of it, Congress said we are not going to do it. And also remember, shortly afterwards, not only was there was this diplomatic horror story in Sharm el Sheikh, where by the prodding of Pakistan, we, foolishly included the word Baluchistan in it, as if we are responsible for fomenting trouble there.
Yes.
I mean, what can be more outrageous than that?
Let me also
but I want
say,
to ask my good friend, Tausif.
One second.
Pinarayi Vijayan was giving bhashan about Hamas in New Delhi while there were the Evacuation blast on the 29th of October. Did you see anybody from the left cabal condemning the blast? They said, oh...
Let me bring in Mr. Najib also. So I think Dr. Ranganathan has a question. Let me also bring in Mr. Najib. Yes.
Just 5 seconds of questions.
He's been very patient. Yeah.
My good friend Tausif Bhai, whom I respect a lot. Tausif Bhai said, an eye for an eye makes everyone blind. India is always, we must preach non-violence. Can I ask him, Tausif, a very sincere answer from you. Should the great Prophet Muhammad have undertaken the battle of Badr?
I will rather not answer that and not give you that the honor of speaking on something or speaking on a subject of which you have zero knowledge.
Okay. Well,
you have immense knowledge.
It's a historical fact. It's a historical fact, viewers. Anyhow, let me.
A fact is also a judge orders death penalty inside the code as well.
हाँ,
so
उसको भी आप बैन कर दीजिए.
If we remove the background, no.
You remove it. You remove the background.
Let's not
background, every background. No, please. Mr. One second. I think a very simple question was that if the 26/11 attacks happen again, God forbid, in this country. One second. Should we not respond? Should we do Gandhigiri? Viewers, there is a group of people in this country that believes that. And they will invoke the Mahatma and forget about any context then. Let me just bring in Mr. Najib. Okay, fair enough, sir. Fair enough. It's okay. We should just open ourselves out and get blown up. Mr. Najib, thank you very much for being here. This is being tied up in Indian politics, so I didn't want to involve you in Indian politics. So now I want to ask you a very simple and straightforward question. Is Hamas a terror organization that has invited upon itself this war, number one? Number two, can you tell me, sir, why Gazans are living above the ground in the line of fire and the Hamas terrorists are actually in tunnels? Can you explain this to me? Simple questions to you, Mr. Najib.
Yes, I would like to tell you that as a journalist here in the Middle East, we are not have the right to define who is terrorist and non-terrorist. They are international bodies, they are legal institutions, they are governments who decide. So independent journalists haven't the right to define who is terrorist or non-terrorist. But I will tell you, I disagree with what Hamas did on 7 October, targeting Israeli civilians, taking them hostages, killing them, raping them. Whatever we hear is unacceptable by the Islam, by the Palestinian traditions, by the politics, by all means. And
was it an act of terror?
I don't know why they did that. They gave an explanation for that, but
Mr. Najib, was that an act of terror?
Many Palestinians disagree.
When you walk into someone's country and uninvited, unprodded, unprovoked kill babies, is that an act of terror, yes or no?
I say from this panel and discussion that you are far from the ground, and I would like to invite you to come to the area here.
I'm asking you, Mr.
Gaza.
Najib, on October 7th, were little babies killed in their cots? Yes or no?
I didn't see that. Okay. I heard about that. But I didn't see that.
He
myself.
heard
But
about it, viewers.
I tell you.
Then why
that,
should I believe that there is any... No, hang on. Then Mr. Najib, if you heard about it, I've also heard about some sort of Israeli retaliation in Gaza. I haven't seen it. So why should I believe it? This war is not even happening, by your logic.
I didn't see that. I didn't see any pictures for that. They were telling Biden, but even Biden said it's unconfirmed. The CNN apologized.
No, one second, Mr. Najib. You said yourself what Hamas did was condemnable. So you believe that what Hamas did was condemnable. Forget about babies. Taking the body of Shani Luke, parading it naked, one second, in Gaza, mounting it on a open jeep, brutalizing it, and there are photos of that. I put them out on air, kidnapping Israelis and taking them into Gaza. Is that an act of terror, yes or no, sir?
It wasn't acceptable to attack the Israelis in that
Was
way.
it an attack of terror?
I tell you, we don't have the right. You should understand.
See, viewers, I cannot understand. You cannot have the right to call a truth a truth. How can you deny someone the right to call a truth, an obvious truth, a truth? What do you think? I want to ask you. I want to ask you, Mr. Najib. Let's do it the other way. If Israelis had come, one second. If Israelis had come, one second, Mr.
You
Najib.
don't give me the right to answer because you gave everyone 5 minutes and you don't give me as every time.
You can take 10 minutes.
I report the news. I don't make the news. There is difference. Professional journalists, independent journalists are not politicians to issue a political statement. You ask me about political statement. I am in the region here. I cover the Israeli news. I cover the Palestinians. I cover the Middle East.
Mr. Najib, look, let's do each other a favor. Let's do each other a favor. Let's not talk, because clearly your definition of what constitutes humanity and the treatment of fellow humans is very different from mine. I must be a very poor journalist who believes that an act of terror is committed by heavily armed people who go into a baby's, toddler's bedroom and brutalizes them. If viewers, you think that those people are not terrorists, and if you think that I'm wrong to call them terrorists, then viewers, I will wear that condemnation as a badge on my chest. I'm happy to be told that I am not a professional journalist when, viewers, I see that a bunch of people enter, heavily armed, grown men enter, pull a baby out of a cot, brutalize it, burn it. If that is not terror, viewers, then we've lost our sense of humanity, we've lost our perspective on life, and we have no right to even begin a conversation, let alone debate it. I'll take a short break, viewers. When we return, the Prime Minister has expressed huge concern over deepfakes. Why and what can we do about it? Is it all too late? He says it's a threat to India. We come back to that.
Hello.